Boston, and he is a big boy.
Yeah, he was crushing balls in batting practice, as we saw. Put one up and over the berm, so that's always been the story about Hudson Potts. A lot of raw power. We'll see what we get out of him today in his first sim game action at McCoy.
I got one more for Bill, who is operating the camera. Let's go out to center field. That is Jason Rosario. He's the other man who came back in the Mitch Moreland deal.
There he is.
So we're seeing a couple of newcomers to the sim games here today for a short one. This should be fun. And a man who turned 24 years old yesterday, Jarren Duran. He is going to lead things off. Thanks for tuning in, folks, whether you're on Facebook Live or on Periscope via Twitter. We thank Paw Sox Productions for bringing you coverage of the Boston Red Sox taxi squad.
Now, Josh, one thing I noticed yesterday, I know we've been talking a lot about Tristan Casas, who's on deck.
How about that start for Jarren Duran? He has not been waiting around. When he leads off, he swings early.
Oh, and look at him go. Easy double for him, and probably nobody else on this taxi squad. He can fly.
Cesar Puello out in right field did everything he could to try to keep him from getting to second base. He got the ball in. There's Puello. He actually ended up on the grass after wheeling and making that throw. But after, I thought, what was a couple of quiet days with the bat offensively recently, Duran, on the first pitch of the day, he just cracked one.
Yeah, and that's one of the best ways to get out of a slump, too, especially for a leadoff hitter. You know you're going to get a get-me-over pitch to start off a game. No pitcher wants to start off down 1-0 in the count. And you rarely see a ground ball get through the right side between the first baseman and second baseman for a double, but that's just the kind of speed that Jarren Duran has.
Well, Dylan Covey is being tested here very early. The first two in this batting group, you saw Duran, and now it's perhaps the hottest hitter here in Pawtucket. It's Tristan Casas.
And before Duran was first pitch swinging, I was going to mention one thing I noticed about Casas is that when he's on deck, he takes advantage of this simulated game environment, and he pretty much starts on deck directly behind the batter just to try to get a better angle and see pitches a little bit better before he steps in. And you might notice today, folks, he does have that harness on. We've seen that before with Duran, Connor Wong, CJ Chatham. That means he has the 360 GoPro on today.
Oh, I was wondering what that was. It almost looks like it's a medical device.
Yeah, like a heart rate monitor, but that'll get us some great footage of Casas today as he grounds one foul to the right side.
As is his wont, he fell behind 0-2 against Covey and just spoils one. Billy McMillan continues to have a conversation at third base with the newcomer Hudson Potts. It's just so interesting to watch how in these sim games the coaches can do in-game coaching. And they're getting to know each other. Potts has only been here for about, 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, not very long at all. He and Rosario both coming in from San Diego.
We've got an almost full defense. There's ball one on Casas. The only spot that is not occupied is left field. There it is, thanks to Bill Wanless, who's operating the high home. But otherwise, Rosario in center, Puello in right. Talked about Potts playing third. Chatham at shortstop is actually in an overshift at the moment. He's playing where the second baseman normally would be. And Covey. Well, they're simulating it being a real game. He didn't want Jarren Duran to get too big of a lead.
Especially with Potts alone on the left side of the infield. He's hugging third a little bit more than you would normally see with an overshift for a lefty.
1-2. Got him swinging. That has not been easy to do against Tristan Casas, but a good breaking ball there from Dylan Covey. That's the first out here of our short sim game today. Just to finish the defense, by the way, that's Christian Arroyo playing second base. Josh Akami has first, and the battery mate for Covey is Centeno. There's Juan, veteran backstop. We've seen a lot of debuts here this weekend in Pawtucket TQ. It's yesterday, Davey Grullon, the newcomer, claimed off of waivers from Philadelphia.
Yeah, and he was extremely impressive. Obviously, it took a couple of days for him to get cleared and start playing here, but he homered to the opposite field right center, 383 in his first game at Sim City, along with the 3 walks, as you said yesterday. Great plate discipline from Grullon, the 24-year-old catcher.
Jonathan Lucroy is on deck. Jeter Downs in the box behind 0-1 against Dylan Covey, longtime Chicago White Sox pitcher. Red Sox picked him up for pitching depth this year, and he's been up there. In fact, he's made 4 appearances for Dave Bush and has given up 5 runs in 6 1/3 major league innings. He was last optioned back on August 16th, so he's been back here for, what is that now, 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen him pitch very much.
Not much at all. He's well-traveled, though, with the amount of times he's gone up to Boston and back down 95 south here to Pawtucket.
Downs pops it up. Good pitch on the hands. Akami with the shades on for the second out. I think that was fair ball. Not that it matters. He caught it. So different in these sim games. You look out on the diamond and you don't see the chalk painted.
Yeah, it's really difficult to tell. Other than chalk lines, this grounds crew of Matt McKinnon and Alex Tedesco do such a phenomenal job. They were coming in every day, even during quarantine, making sure that the stadium and field were ready in case we did have a minor league season, and on the off chance that the Red Sox would need to use it for an alternate training site.
So after the first pitch double by Duran, he's still at second a couple of outs later. And strike one on Lucroy. Well, whatever rust you might have thought you'd see from Dylan Covey, I don't think we're seeing it at all. He looks very sharp.
No, other than a first pitch double from Duran, that was just a hard hit ground ball. Duran couldn't get the ball in the air. He's been pitching really well in this first inning of work.
Lucroy is being played exactly straight away. He hits the ball to the only spot where there's no defender. They're going to call that a gapper. It's a double for Lucroy. And that allows Jarren Duran to score. So we've got an early run here today.
And an early broadcaster's jinx out of us.
That was another hard-hit baseball by the veteran Jonathan Lucroy, who's been doing that time and again. We keep gushing about the professionalism that he's shown here playing at an alternate site, a Major League All-Star formerly in his career. But I think it's worth repeating. He just does it. He goes about his business every day here like he's playing in the major leagues. I'm so impressed.
And he started hitting really well the last couple of weeks, too.
Swing by Pareda, a catcher, one of the catchers here at this training site. He fouled it off, and there's actually more catchers now than we've had ever because of the addition of Davey Grullon. There's 5 catchers here. Pareda, Centeno, Lucroy. We've seen all of them on the diamond here in the first inning. Fouled back 0-2. Connor Wong is up with the Red Sox taxi squad for their series against Toronto. Add Grullon to the mix. Who did I leave out?
Is it Bandy?
And Jet Bandy. Thank you. We haven't seen Jet for a few days. Runner at second, 2 outs. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday early afternoon. Pareda to Akami. He is way off the bag, so a good job there by Covey to get over to cover.
Akami has improved so much over the last 2.5 months at this alternate training site defensively. You can really tell he has nice soft hands where he was a little bit more rigid before. He's been picking it. He made an amazing diving play earlier this week. He just looks so much more comfortable over there at first base.
They're going to extend the inning. There are 3 outs. But as we talk about in these sim game broadcasts, the only rule, there are no rules. Do whatever you want. Get him a 4th hitter in the inning, and he gets to face Davey Grullon. Grullon, who homered yesterday off of Nick Pivetta, the first sim game that he played in Pawtucket. Off speed for ball 1 from Covey. They took the runner off of third base. Lucroy just left. So you can either say there was a ghost runner at third or whatever.
We were originally slated to have Matt Hall pitch 3 innings and Covey be his counterpart pitching 3 as well. But stop me if you've heard this one before. Matt Hall is being recalled to the Boston Red Sox, so he will not be pitching today at McCoy.
I was going to say he might be pitching there, but he's not pitching here.
He's not pitching here, that's right. So Covey, the only pitcher scheduled to pitch here at McCoy, so I wonder if he's just starting this inning immediately after his first.
He falls behind Gurrion 3-0. They've had like a force field around the strike zone to this guy.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. He took 3 free passes yesterday. Nobody's throwing him strikes. Maybe they saw the swing that he had against Pavetta when he homered, and they're thinking,
one of the few pitches that did get over the zone, he crushed.
that was not necessarily just to get me over 3-0 fastball.
No. That was placed very well.
Josh Mauer, Tim Quidadamo, your announcers here today. Thanks so much for being with us. As we said, this is all presented by Bank of America. Took that big cut. A lot of foul territory over there for Akami. He knows it well. Look at that. He had room. This is the only minor league venue in the country where that's an out.
And we're very familiar with that walk as well with Dining on the Diamond. Our server station is right over there. And let me tell you, folks, it is not a short walk.
No, it adds many steps onto a night's work.
We're talking miles.
Yes. Here, here. So that'll roll over the first inning from Dylan Covey. I'm sure that with nobody else having warmed up, nobody else is coming into pitch. So what they have done in these situations where you need a guy to simulate multiple innings without a counterpart, they've just had guys sit around in the dugout for 3 or 4 minutes.
Yep.
And I think that's what we'll have here. We go into what I call our version of Sox talk. As we wait for the team to come back out of the diamonds. Well, the Red Sox got 2 straight wins. How about the way that they did it last night?
Yeah.
They blew a lead. They blew a 4-run lead, fell behind by a couple, and then end up with 2 runs in the 9th inning to win the game. Bogarts tied it with the homer. And then our man, the proud alumnus of the taxi squad, Jairo Munoz, drove in the winning run.
It wasn't the prettiest winning run, but it got the job done. Vasquez with a great slide to get around the tag. I think the most encouraging thing from last night, though, we had Devers, Bogarts, and J.D. Martinez all go deep in that game. Some guys who have gotten hot and cold, been struggling a little bit recently, and all were able to catch a barrel and leave the yard.
And you left one out, TQ.
Yeah.
How about another proud alumnus of here?
Bobby Bombs.
Bobby Dahlbeck. He crushed about 110-mile-an-hour exit velocity, screaming home run.
That got out in a blink. Right down the line. Bobby met the Green Monster for the first time in his young career.
Speaking of alums from this alternate site, the man who's going to make the start in an hour at Fenway is Andrew Triggs. They're going to use an opener, and they've done that quite a bit, but Triggs goes first.
Yep, we only saw him very briefly in Sim City. He pitched 1 time, but quickly gets the call up to Boston and is slated to start today.
He'll go up against former Diamondback, just acquired by the Blue Jays, Robbie Ray, the lefty. Robbie Ray used to be a terrific pitcher, and he's had all sorts of command issues of late. So he's trying to revive his career as Toronto's right in the thick of the playoff race.
He started with Arizona, is that right?
Yeah. So that game is in an hour. It's good. We pushed up the start time here from this alternate site sim game, so we can be done in time, I'm sure, to watch first pitch there from Fenway. That is a 5-game series, because a couple of days ago it was the doubleheader, and then with each team having won 2 games, we've got a traditional old rubber match of a 5-game set. It will be Andrew Triggs' first major league start since 2018. When he was a starter, he was with the A's. He used to be a starting pitcher. It's just been the last few years he's been moved into the bullpen.
Yeah, I wonder how many innings manager Ron Renicky is expecting or will allow Triggs to go if he's pitching well, because as we mentioned, he only pitched once here in Pawtucket, so you wonder how well that arm is stretched out, and if he's effective, how long they're willing to let him eat out there.
The Red Sox have used now 13 starting pitchers. Isn't that amazing?
Unbelievable.
And only 7 of them have made multiple starts. Martin Perez, Zach Godley, Evaldi. Ryan Weber was very good last night. He started his 5th game. Colton Brewer started 4. Kyle Hart 3, and another alternate site alum, Chris Mazza, 3 of them. just in this week alone, we've seen Robinson Lair go up. He made a spot start, and now it'll be Triggs.
Yeah, and our good friend Alex Spear of the Boston Globe yesterday made the note that in the 41st game of the season, last night with Ryan Weber was the first time the Red Sox had a start by someone not named Nate Eovaldi or Martin Perez to go 5 innings.
Here come some players out onto the field, as you can see. And of note, look who's going out to left field. It's Josh Ockamy.
He's been what I like to call power shagging during batting practice the last week and a half or so. He's been out there with Billy McMillan, who was an outfielder for the Oakland Athletics, among other teams, during his major league career. So he's been working closely with Billy in the outfield, and a guy who we saw only at first base or DH last year for the Paw Sox is getting a little more versatile here in Sim City.
Jason Rosario back in center field. And there's Jason. He was, as I said, one of the 2 men acquired in the Mitch Moreland deal last weekend. Rosario is known as a very toolsy player. He's very athletic. He's a young outfielder. It's our first glimpse of him. But both of the guys that came back in that trade from San Diego, both Potts and Rosario.
There you get a look at Potts.
There's Potts. They're both young guys. They're projectable as potential big league guys, but, you know, they're a pretty long ways away. It's nice to be able to get them this time playing at the alternate site.
Hudson Potts, a guy with a lot of raw power, only 21 years old. He'll have his 22nd birthday in October. And Rosario, only 20 years old, turning 21 in October as well. So a lot of room to grow as we're getting younger here in Sim City.
Jeter Downs playing second base. We have lost an infielder, so we only got 3 of them now.
But I think for the first time in Taxi Squad history, we have a full outfield.
Oh no, where's Ockamy going? He just left. You'll see him in a second. He's about to come into your picture there. There he is. He's headed into the dugout. He warmed up in left field. Puello against Covey. Long run over there by Duran. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
He made the catch. And is he okay? Jarren Duran just gave up his body, crashing into the retaining wall on a foul ball by Puello.
What a play. Right where that wall jets out into a sort of triangle down the line. Duran running full speed, goes into the slide to protect himself as he met that wall and is able to make the catch. Very impressive play for a guy who started his minor league career as an infielder. He's still getting used to the outfield, and we've seen him mostly in center.
Yeah, I was going to say the only reason he's playing right field is because the man who was hitting was Cesar Puello. He's normally the right fielder just about every half inning they have a right fielder. Wow. That shows you just how professional these guys have been here in these games. You're looking at today, we're going to play for about 30 minutes.
Yep.
It could very easily just be a day where guys take it easy.
Yeah, and we always talk about how monotonous it must get, facing the same pitchers facing the same hitters. But there still is that level of competitiveness.
I can't believe he caught the ball.
It was phenomenal. So already quite the day for Jarren Duran. Doubled in the first inning and then that catch in foul territory.
So now it's Arroyo in the box against Dylan Covey. On the ground to Downs. That stayed low. Nice play by Jeter and a good pick at first by Casas. It was not easy on either end of that 6-3 putout.
No, and that was very encouraging to see, especially after Jeter Downs booted a ball backhand side yesterday. Kind of went back on it, got the mid-hop, and kicked it off his glove into left field. So it was great to see him charge that ball and then make an accurate throw over to first. And Casas, who hasn't seen a lot of time at first base, able to pick him up on the other end.
C.J. Chatham batting for the first time. 1-0 against Covey. Well, when you say that Casas hasn't seen a lot of first base time,
hasn't seen a lot of action
in his career prior to here, because really since he's come to this training site, he has been almost exclusively the first baseman.
That's right.
And he's been very good over there, I think.
Yeah, he's starting to look a lot more comfortable as well. The great thing about this alternate training site is all of these young guys are getting a lot of one-on-one time. I mentioned earlier Akami has looked a lot more comfortable at first base, and Bruce Krabby has done such an incredible job with all of these infielders. He talked earlier in his Zoom meeting about how Jeter Downs, when he saw him at spring training for the first time, he walked up to Jeter and straight up told him, "You look sloppy in the infield," and I think we've seen great improvements from him and all the other infielders.
Did you know his last name is actually Crab?
Is it Crab?
Yeah.
Everyone calls him Krabby.
That's right. That's his. Yeah, Krabby is the ubiquitous nickname.
Yeah.
To left and a fair ball for Chatham. That should be a double, and it is. 2 fingers up from Bruce Krabby.
Giving him a mix of his full name and nickname. Why not?
I appreciated it. I thought it was. It was good for a laugh.
I'm only
on
halfway
side.
through my coffee, Josh, all right? Give it time.
Good swing by Chatham. We've had 3 doubles, by the way, against Covey. In his first inning out there, it was Duran and Lucroy, and now Chatham. With 2 outs, there's a man on, and Akami coming to the plate. I guess that's why he only went to warm up in left field, and then he ran off. That was strange, though, wasn't it?
I'm sure if you asked any of these guys if they'd rather get some time in the field or an at-bat, they'll probably take the at-bat.
1-0. You were talking about Casas wearing the harness that has the special camera for Paw Sox Productions.
Yep.
I want to get a shot of that in a moment, if we can. Good pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Casas is over at first base there, and look at that. I don't even know what it looks like he's wearing, but it's such a unique thing. I'm out there marveling.
It's almost, remember 5 or 6 years ago, they made a big deal about like children's baseball undershirts that had the padding to protect their sternum?
Yep.
It almost looks like one of those, but it is just a strapped harness that we screw the GoPro in, and I can't wait to see that pick play at first base.
1-2. So tell us the process, TQ, because you're intimately involved. What's going to happen after that camera gets removed? You're going to go through the footage?
That's right. So either Joe Jacobs or myself, we're going to go through the footage. It does actually have pretty good audio that it picks up, too. So we'll have to be on the lookout for any words not safe for work. But we go through the footage. We had Duran, Chatham, everyone go through all of it, see the highlight plays, what looks cool on it, because honestly sometimes the guy's body will get in the way of the camera. Like, it's a little bit more difficult for hitting, but it is a 360 degree camera, so it sees everything all the way from the bottom of Casas's hat to the toes. It picks up everything, so it's just a matter of what looks good, making sure that we pick the right angles for whatever play. It takes a little bit of time.
Out of play. Akami, I'm going to bet you dollars to donuts, is going to take ball 3 on one of these next pitches, because every time he comes into the batter's box, it seems like no matter what the circumstance, he works a full count.
Yep. He's another one of those guys, just like Casas, and like we saw with Grullon yesterday, that likes getting deep into counts, and they get a little more comfortable with a lot of guys would get 2 strikes.
I told you. It had to go 3-2.
Yeah.
It's just preordained. Back pick there from Centeno, trying to catch C.J. Chatham napping, but he was able to get back. So 3-2. My running joke, and people who watch us every day are going to say, Josh, I'm tired of hearing it. Why don't we just make it 3-2 when Akami comes into the box and save us all a lot of time?
Casas, Grullon.
So what does Covey throw to try to put him away? We'll see. Breaking ball, and he walked him.
Oh, I think Crab.
Oh, he did. He called it a strike.
Yeah, Bruce Crab. Bruce Crab that time, not Krabby. Or just Krabby, rung him up.
All right, then. He is not afraid. That's the other thing. Akami will take close pitches with 2 strikes. And again, you saw the conversation between Hudson Potts and Billy McMillan as those two start to work together. We have one more half inning on the schedule here today, and so we'll simulate another inning break. coaching staff is getting it all squared away. As we wait for the final frame, let us take a moment and hear these words from our partner, presenting sponsor of Taxi Squad broadcasts, Bank of America.
We are entering a new chapter in our lives. Our confidence is shaken, cracked. We didn't ask for it, but we are rising to meet it. And how far we've come isn't even close to how far we can go. There's a crack in everything for a reason. How else can the light get in? Tomorrow starts today.
Thank you to Bank of America for making this possible. Josh Maurer with Tim Quidadamo today as we approach 1 o'clock. If you're watching us live, you may be watching this on a replay, an archive, and it could be any time, any day. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Bill Wanless also for doing a great job on that high home camera today and giving you the great shot of the amazing catch that Jarren Duran just made.
Yeah, I know Bill did get ripped on Twitter a couple of weeks ago for not being able to follow a home run into the parking lot. Followed the ball very well on that Duran catch.
So we're waiting for our final half inning here today, and for a game that was sort of lacking drama, just one pitcher, only 3 half innings on the schedule, we've seen quite a bit. It's been fun.
Yeah. Like you said, a handful of doubles. Duran leading it off with a double, a hustle double, which was great to see, as well as that play we were just talking about down the line. Chatham with a double down the line, and who's the one I'm missing?
Jonathan Lucroy.
Jonathan Lucroy, that's right. Lucroy staying hot.
Good defense, too. Well, the news today before the Red Sox and Blue Jays game is that Matt Hall, as we've talked about, was recalled from here. Robert Stock was optioned. He'll come back to the taxi squad. Will Stock, he pitched in last night's game up in Boston. 7 appearances total up there, so they've used him quite a bit.
Yeah.
But he'll come back here. So Matt Hall continues to ride the Merlone shuttle, if you will.
All right, there's a look at clubby Mario Oliveira, who we'd like to wish a happy 23rd birthday to. Mario's been a fill-in first baseman for the guys while they're warming up, doing their infield work pre-game. He's been taking reps at first base for everybody.
Speaking of birthdays, and I echo those sentiments, by the way, TQ, Mario, happy B-Day. Also, happy birthday to the Paw Sox man in charge of everything here and in Worcester. It's Larry Lucchino's birthday today. So from all of us here in the press box and from the guys down there on the diamond, happy birthday to one of the great ones.
Happy birthday. Been a fixture in my Red Sox fandom my entire life.
Jarren Duran had a birthday yesterday. It's a big birthday weekend here.
Yep, as well as our coworker Sabria Chaudhry. Her 23rd birthday as well was yesterday.
All right, Sabria. Well, to everybody celebrating, we hope it's been a happy and healthy, and also for those of you just enjoying your Labor Day weekend, right in the middle of the 3-day weekend. Hope it's been a nice respite for you. This feels like such a different Labor Day than any of us who have been involved in baseball have ever experienced.
For me, it feels like the summer was just getting started, especially with us coming out here, watching some live baseball, being some of the few folks in America who are able to do so. We're very thankful for that. But this weekend did feel like summer's just getting started, but there's a chill in the air every morning and evening.
Temperature today is about 80 degrees as we play under partly cloudy skies. It's a really nice afternoon for this early sim game. And as you see, here we go with some more defenders coming out and the third and final inning for Dylan Covey. The other addition today, as we talked about right at the outset, was Marcus Wilson. Wilson is actually a 40-man roster guy for the Red Sox who had not been at this site, which I know that some were a little surprised by, not being in the 60-person player pool, but on the 40-man, well, now he's here. He is number 60, so it's now filled up for that player pool.
That's right. A guy who had who had some success in Double-A Portland last year in 62 games. Ended up going deep 8 times. He's a guy with a lot of raw power, similar to Rosario in the way that they have a very athletic frame, and the Red Sox are sort of waiting for them to fill into it a little bit more, add a little bit more muscle. Wilson just 24 years old as well.
Baseball America ranks him as the number 19 prospect in the organization entering 2020. Marcus Wilson actually was the guy that the Red Sox got back from Arizona, and that was for Blake Swihart's. Remember that? So they got some young prospects of in recent years, and Wilson was one of them. Well, I was wondering if we would see the Padres newcomers hit. We've seen them play defense. The answer is yes, for the first time. With the taxi squad, here is Hudson Potts in the box. We know about Hudson that he has immense power. He was a first-round pick out of high school by the Padres, in large because of the way the ball just jumps off his bat. And you alluded to it earlier. We watched him take batting practice, and it was on display.
Yeah, he hit one up over the berm in left center. Not a lot of guys can do that.
1-1. The deal, which was exactly a week ago. Mitch Moreland going to the Padres in exchange for these two youngsters we see here today, Hudson Potts and Jason Rosario. On the ground to second. 2 hops, Christian Arroyo takes care of Potts, and that's how his career here at Sim City gets underway. Has to face a big league veteran in Dylan Covey, which is a higher caliber of pitcher, really, than he's seen in his minor league career to this point.
Yeah, he's only ever made it up to Double-A with San Antonio in 2018 and Amarillo 2019. But for a 21-year-old, he has 57 career minor league home runs.
And now it's the other man from San Diego. This is the first time we see Jason Rosario in the box. A lefty, as you can see. Took the breaking ball a little bit low. No swing, says Billy McMillan at third base. They appealed.
Rosario thought about it, but a huge story with Rosario is that he has great plate discipline. He was able to hold off a curveball just a little bit low from Covey.
Rosario is only 20. Hails from Santo Domingo in the Dominican, so many players do these days, who come stateside. And he gets ahead 2-0. He played only at high A. That's the furthest he's advanced in his minor league career. Last season in the California League with the Padres Lake Elsinore, he hit .242, but was only 19 years old in doing so. 2-1.
And how about this for you? 289 games over 3 seasons in the minors. He's walked 186 times.
So you're saying we shouldn't be surprised he just got ahead 3-1.
That's right. He might be another guy that we ask, why don't you just start 3-2?
One out. We've got one outfielder. It's Pollo in right. 3 infielders. He walked him. Nope, called a strike. Beg your pardon. 3-2. You were right, TQ. Jason is not the typical spelling, by the way. Jeisson. Jason Rosario. 3-2. Got him looking right down the middle. And you're going to learn, I think, if you're Rosario, that when you face a pitcher, a veteran like Covey, it's not like facing those guys in the California League.
Right.
You got to swing when you got 2 strikes on you.
That looked like he might have been expecting something off speed from Covey there, and he just got frozen on a fastball on the outer half.
And I don't mean that as a criticism. I think it's more of a guy that you can tell he's up there maybe looking to walk.
Right.
As he's done so often.
Yeah, he's done so often. And a guy with so much speed as Jason Rosario, too. He's just looking to get on base at any way possible. But you would like to see him swing the bat there.
Jarren Duran in the box, so there are 2 outs. But it looks like we will have at least 2 more hitters here today regardless. Casas has moved into the on-deck circle.
Yeah, and this was what I was mentioning earlier. You see Casas in the frame right there. He's trying to get as close of an angle to his actual at-bat as possible. There's the overhead view from Bill Wanless. Normally during a game,
Yeah, they wouldn't let you do that.
an umpire absolutely would not let you do that.
But when there are no rules, you take advantage.
Exactly.
1-1, 2-1 on Duran, who doubled it the only time that he faced this pitcher, Dylan Covey, earlier.
It reminds me a little bit of the famous Adrian Beltre ejection, where an umpire thought he was a little bit too close to home plate in the on-deck circle, and Beltre picked up the on-deck circle and brought it with him.
Yeah. Three and one the count on Duran. Covey is a depth option. It's funny that the tenor of the roster here with the taxi squad has really changed. Less guys like Covey, more guys like Hudson Potts and Jason Rosario. More of the youngsters, Marcus Wilson, Davey Gurrion, the guys they're trying to develop. That is ball four. Duran is aboard for the second time.
Great showing for Duran today. Draws a walk there, and sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, but the double earlier and the diving catch. He had been a little bit quiet in the last week at the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially compared to what he had done the previous couple weeks. All right, well, I know you and Joe Jacobs are excited that we get one more at bat here from the camera-wearing Casas.
Yeah, not too much to show at the plate so far. A nice play in the field with that camera. But it'd be great to see Casas catch a barrel.
Covey struck him out with a breaking ball down and in the first time that these two squared off today. This would be a spot where Duran very likely in a real game would try to steal second base, and Covey is paying attention to him. Actually, it would be a great time to try to steal. Get yourself into scoring position for a big bopper like Casas with 2 outs. Finally, the first pitch ripped into right. Puello is not going to get it, and Casas has another base hit here in Sim City. First pitch swinging there against Covey.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if he's got a camera harness to him. He can still swing that bat.
Just turns on that, fires the hips open, and drives it to right field for a single.
We'll continue. We'll play a little more. Jeter Downs will come up, and Jarren Duran is going to vacate third base, so that means that maybe even he'll hit again, and we've got a ghost runner. The one run that we've had score was driven in by Lucroy earlier. That was a double back in the first. They're on the corners, at least in theory. And it's a 0-1 on Jeter Downs. On the schedule, by the way, we've got another sim game here tomorrow, and then an off day for these guys here at the alternate site Tuesday, which also means an off day for you.
Yeah.
And the Tier 3 Pawtucket Red Sox employees.
For all of us. A well-deserved, I don't want to toot my own horn, but beep.
That's all right. You guys are logging the hours that... You know, I think it's interesting that most people probably don't realize to make this alternate site run, the Red Sox organization are using quite a few Pawtucket Red Sox full-time employees. 1-1. Big swing by Downs. One of the things we talked about yesterday is how perhaps the guys who have been here throughout the entire second camp, like Jeter Downs has been since the moment he was sent here from Boston. He's been here since mid-July. Maybe we're losing these guys in the shuffle a little bit.
Yeah.
You start thinking about the new players.
Everyone likes a new toy, right? But Downs has been pretty consistent. Not as much hard contact at the plate recently as we saw in the first month and a half from Downs. But as we said earlier, with that backhand play he made on the run in the first inning of work for Covey, he's improved defensively by a lot.
Battling 1 ball, 2 strikes against a big league veteran. 2-2.
It's a difficult pitch to lay off. Fastball up. We've seen a lot more of that throughout all levels of baseball in the last couple of years. A lot of guys chasing those with emphasis on launch angle and home runs.
It's a great two-strike pitch to throw.
Yeah, just above the letters. Hitters can't quite catch up to it.
Grullon is on deck. So they're letting this inning extend as long as, well, Dylan Covey says he still feels good to pitch, I guess. This is the final scheduled half inning of today's action, and we know Duran had left the bases, so theoretically he could be ready to hit even maybe after Grullon. But if you're looking at a regular situation, there are 2 outs and runners on the corners. Jeter Downs works a full count. It's going to be a really fun month here. I really do believe that, with the guys, the young guys who are developing day in, day out, like Downs, Casas.
We've already seen a lot of motion with pitchers going up and down. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to get some of these guys a little bit of big league time towards the end of the year.
Casas was running. Love that. 3-2, 2 outs. Put him in motion. We'll do it again, 3-2. Still no word on when we'll see Brian Mata pitch in a game. It was exactly a week ago when he left his start with a hamstring cramp that looked very painful.
Yeah, he was out running around the warning track today getting his laps in. He was all smiles, as Brian Mata usually is, too.
With the runner in motion again, Downs just missed a fair ball. That was maybe a foot wide of what the chalk would have been. Tristan Casas is giving our camera quite the shots here as he takes off on these pitches.
He's getting his steps in.
I think it's going to look really neat when you go through that footage.
When we had Duran wear it, I think he stole second and third on consecutive pitches, and that was phenomenal.
Got him swinging. Finally, Covey able to put him away after a long battle. And Dylan Covey says, that's enough for me. So the day's work comes to an end here in Pawtucket.
He looked good overall. Scattered a couple hits, but the off-speed was working for him. He was placing it well at the bottom of the zone and below. Fastball was placing that well at the top of the zone. I thought Covey looked pretty good today.
And Bruce Krabby, as you called him, talking to his infielders. A good day's work, actually. You know, when we come here and you hear, it's only going to be 3 half innings, sometimes we might think, it's not much to see. But I thought there was a lot to see here today, did you?
Yeah, Jarren Duran certainly gave us a lot to look at alone. Doubled in the first, he drew a couple of walks and made that diving play down the line, crashing into the wall.
Another hit for Tristan Casas, and we saw the debuts for both of the Padres newcomers, both Hudson Potts and Jason Rosario. Potts played third base a couple of innings, Rosario center, and then they each batted. Marcus Wilson is here. We saw him during batting practice. He did not get into the game today. That should come in the next day or two, you figure.
Yep. There seems to be the same sort of routine where a guy comes in, they just take BP the first day, then they do some fielding work, which Marcus Wilson was doing today, and take BP, and then we should see him soon in some SimCity action. Well,
thanks to you for doing both the double duty of directing and commentating. Always good to be with you. Tim, that's Tim Quidadamo. Bill Wanless up here in the press box has helped us out immensely on the camera. Great work. Thanks to Joe Jacobs, Alex Richardson, everybody else from the Paw Sox who help make these productions a possibility. I'm Josh Maurer, wishing you a great rest of your Sunday. We're back at it tomorrow. We would assume again anytime between 12 and 1. Look for that alert on your Facebook feed or on your Twitter account. We'll let you know when we go live with Red Sox Taxi Squad Baseball. Thanks for watching. So long, everyone.